In today's video, we're going to take a look at the second commander deck for Duskmourn, Miracle Worker, with Aminatou being a commander that is not a planeswalker for what I believe is the first time, and some pretty cool new cards to go along with it, so let's get into the video. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate you taking the time to watch. Go ahead and hit that like button if you do enjoy, and click subscribe if you want to be subscribed for whenever new videos are posted. And you can click that bell icon to be notified as well. Yes, today we're going to be talking about the Miracle Worker deck. It was revealed earlier thanks to, I think it was Weekly MTG. So, of course, we're going to go through the new cards in it and see how they are and if they're going to end up being good and worth using. So we'll jump right into the video, and I can't remember if we talked about Aminatou early on when these first previews came out. We'll pretend we haven't. So this is a 1 white, blue, black legendary creature human wizard. At the beginning of your upkeep, Surveil 2. Each enchantment card in your hand has Miracle. Its Miracle cost is equal to its mana cost reduced by 4. Now, Miracle as a whole, I remember being a thing. I think it's from older blocks, and they might have brought it. For some reason, I think there were Time Spiral remastered cards that had it, so it had to be that time period. But it's cool to see it back, because I think it's definitely been a while. There are some great enchantments that cost like 6 that you can essentially bring down to 2 with this, and open up so many different possibilities. Plus, being able to surveil is great in an enchantment deck where you can bring enchantments back, reanimate them, whatever. Just a really cool card that I think is solid for what it does, reducing those costs. You just have to protect it for a little bit to get it going, but once you do that, you're golden. I think this is a pretty awesome card here, and I think it's going to be definitely one of the more popular commanders from this, rotation. But the Master of Keys also deserves some love. Master of Keys is the second commander for this, and it costs X white, blue, black, legendary enchantment creature Horror. It has flying. When it enters, you put X +1/+1 counters on it and mill twice X cards. Each enchantment card in your graveyard has Escape. The escape cost is equal to the card's mana cost plus 3 other cards from your graveyard. Another really cool option, different from Aminatou, but still playable. Obviously, it's doesn't have really any protection either, which can be kind of frustrating when you're talking about having to get the mana together to play the enchantment in some cases. And it's pretty weak when it comes out. But each enchantment in your grave having Escape, you definitely can bring them back a lot easier, but you'd have to go with a more mill-focused strategy. It's cool. I think people are going to like it. I think Aminatou is better. Also, just a quick shout out to this artwork. It's fucking awesome. Just amazing artwork that deserves to be appreciated there in the art. Soaring Lightbringer is 4 and a white enchantment creature, Bird Glimmer. It has flying. It says other enchantment creatures you control have flying, and then whenever you attack a player, create a 1/1 white glimmer enchantment token that is tapped and attacking that player. It's pretty good. It's a little costly, but then again, it's kind of not, because it's an enchantment. So if you reduce it and then you bring it out for even 2 or 3 mana, that's extremely powerful option there. So yeah, I think it's pretty damn good overall for a low cost that gives all your stuff flying, and you're getting the glimmers, which count as creatures, enchantments, and enchantment creatures. So all across the board, I think decks are going to really like this card, especially because you don't have to attack with him, so the turn he comes out, you can kind of get that going. We've got Cramped Vents and Access Mage, another enchantment room. One side of them, Cramped Vents, is 3 and a black. It says when you unlock this door, deal 6 damage to target creature and opponent controls. You gain life equal to the excess damage dealt this way. And then the other side says, once during each of your turns, you may cast a spell from your hand by paying life equal to its mana cost, rather than that paying its mana cost. So it's 5 and 2 black. That's pretty steep, but I suppose later on in the game you can kind of make it work. Dealing 6 damage and then the life gain is solid. A little costly to do that when you consider the fact that there are, because you're only going to get that effect once. There's removal that's a lot easier, but I guess you don't get the life gain, so I don't know. The other side could be where that kind of shines, but really only if you're able to make use of this for lower costs in general, because I think it's relatively costly for what it's actually going to do. Kona, the Rescue Beastie, is a 3 and a green legendary creature, Beast Survivor. With survival, at the beginning of your second main phase, if Kona is tapped, you may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. That's really cool. Also, I am just realizing now, live as we're doing this, that this is actually not part of the commander deck. It is part of the actual Duskmourn set, so forgive me, I'm sorry. However, we have not covered this card yet, and it is really cool. So just a note, but it's not playable in this deck. I wouldn't invest too much time in it there. From from that side of things. So we've got Fear of Sleep Paralysis, 5 and a blue enchantment creature, Nightmare with flying. It has Eerie whenever it or another enchantment you control enters, or whenever you fully unlock a room, tap up to 1 target creature and put a stun counter on it. Stun counters can't be removed from permanents your opponent controls. So this is like honestly kind of locking them down, which is kind of cool. It's definitely a little on the high side in terms of the cost, but there is so much enchantment reduction out there, as we've already seen, and as you know, just has from all kinds of different colors all have access to it, really. Definitely green and white though. It's kind of cute, I guess. You know, being able to lock stuff down as you bring enchantments out, spam the board with glimmers. You can lock all your opponent's stuff. They won't be able to attack, and they can't untap. It's definitely a neat concept. It's creative. Like I said, it feels solid. Ancient Sellspawn is 1 and 2 black enchantment creature horror. Each spell you cast that's a demon, horror, or nightmare costs 1 less to cast. Whenever you cast a spell, if the amount of mana spent to cast it was less than its mana value, target opponent loses life equal to the difference. Kind of cool. Obviously reducing the cost of enchantments and stuff. If you see basically whatever you reduce it by, you do that much life damage to the opponent. Kind of cool, kind of unique. Just as a creature that can bring the cost down to some of your stuff, it's going to have places in a lot of different spots. But I like it. And if there is an enchantment, I don't know if there are, but if there are enchantments that are coded nightmare or horror or whatever that aren't creatures, you can still reduce those costs as well. So that's kind of a cool little add-on there. Redress Fate is 6 and 2 white sorcery. Return all artifact and enchantment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. It has miracle, so you pay 3 and a white. You may cast it for its miracle cost when you draw it, if it's the first card you draw this turn. This card is really, really cool. Obviously, the miracle is a huge part of it, but realistically speaking, with this commander, no matter what, you can play this card for miracle pretty effectively, and bringing back all your artifact and enchantments, meaning creatures too, if they are one of those categories. This does a lot, and the whole deck is designed really to make it so those miracle cards are a little easier to play. Otherwise, I mean, 8 mana is pretty steep to do it, but that's assuming we're ever going to be paying that actual cost. We've got Metamorphosis Fanatic. This is 4 and 2 black creature, human cleric with lifelink. When it enters, return up to 1 target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield with a lifelink counter on it. That's pretty good. The miracle is 1 and a black. That's insane. That's the best instance of miracle I'm seeing here, because if you draw this for 2 and you can, man, you could play this by turn 2. You know, if you have ways to put it on top of the deck, which there absolutely are. Just a really, really good card that seems extremely crazy in reanimator decks. So this is not going to be hard to set up, and you can, within the right decks, of course, and you can just kind of go off. Phenomenon Investigators is 2 blue-black creature human detective. When it enters, choose Believe or Doubt. If you choose Believe, whenever a non-token creature you control dies, create a 2/2 black horror enchantment creature. Or Doubt, at the beginning of your end step, you may return a permanent you own to the hand and draw a card. 2 very different effects, but pretty cool for what it's worth. I kind of think that first effect's just solidly decent to get like enchantment creatures out. The second effect feels maybe a bit more particular if you're looking about certain things, but it's also not terrible. It's just decent. It's pretty good. It would have been kind of cool as a commander if they made it a legendary, but I suppose you understand why they wouldn't do that. And then we've got Secret Arcade / Dusty Parlor. This is on the left 4 and a white non-land permanents you control and permanent spells you control are enchantments in addition to their other types. And Dusty Parlor says whenever you cast an enchantment, put a number of +1 counters equal to that spell's mana value on that creature. So that means everything you cast is considered an enchantment. So anything that says when you cast an enchantment, etc., you're already fulfilling that requirement with every card you play. So there's major resources to be gained there. But then playing it, even if the cost is reduced, it cares about the spell's mana value. So you then go, okay, well, I'm casting this for 2, but it actually is 6, and I'm going to be able to gain, 6 +1 counters on a creature. Just a really solid card. One of the, again, 2 really good rooms in this product, I think, that are definitely some of the stronger ones they've put together so far. So I think the deck seems really cool. I'm kind of excited to, again, I say this a lot, but like I do get a lot of crazy ideas going on in my head. Like, how can I make this work? I'm definitely excited to see what comes out of it though. And this may be, again, one that I kind of dabble with. I don't know. They're going to take all my money for Duskmourn is what's going to happen. It's crazy. Well, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.